Hey everyone, and welcome to Hollywood Hills episode number 21 of the 21 season. How cool is that? And you'll notice I've got the GXCC cap on. The reason for that is we are building up to GXCC round number 4. Yes, round number 4 will mark the halfway marker of an 8-round championship for the GXCCs with one throwaway. If you guys are scoring the points for the championship, this is where it starts to get serious. If you've had 1 or 2 bad events, you can't have any more. You've got to have a perfect season from here on out. And for 1 or 2 riders, that is exactly the case that they are dealing with. But let's talk about the venue. We haven't been there since 2017. It's going to be Trim Park, just inside of Ventersdorp. So it's been a long time since we've been out there. It was a very cool venue when we were out there before. It had a mix of almost everything that you would want for an off-road and cross-country race. You've got a couple of river splash crossings, you've got some bridges to cross over, you've got a lot of grassland, you've got a lot of sand land, you've got a lot of forest, you've got literally a mix of absolutely everything. It is, in my opinion, one of the perfect events that we go to. This is going to be cool that it's out there in winter as well. And remember, we have had a relatively moist winter so far. So we shouldn't have too much dust getting kicked up. Although we know the format of these races does make it a little bit dusty in the afternoons. But we do think the cool weather is going to keep the dust down as well. So that's very, very cool. Vian and the boys have been out there on the farm for the last week or so, and they're going to be slowly building up. It is a slow build. These guys really put in the time. They are out on the farm for close to a month to get all that work going, so we cannot wait to see what is going to be out there. But I know there's a grassland section with a little bit of motocross, so there is some berms there that they're going to be cleaning up. And I remember just coming into the finish line area, there's a kicker jump as well. So it's going to be very spectacular for all of us going out there. Me and the LiveX boys will be there. We cannot wait to go and see what we're going to be working with. But for you guys, it's round 4 of a very important championship. So make sure you're getting that extra little bit of training in. I'll feed back a little bit of information once Vian has been out there on the farm and actually burned the laps and ridden the route to give you guys an idea of what kind of setup you need to be doing on your bikes. But it is an everyman course, which means it's going to be a mixture of all terrains. So if you guys have got a base stock setting, go for that. And as far as the tires go, we'll feed you that information. There is going to be a little bit of rock, but it's so small that I actually think you guys will be able to go for your standard option setup that you would for grassland, flatland, and farmland racing. That's going to be a super cool one. So make sure you guys get those entries in. I think they're coming up to being open now on Race Control. So go onto Race Control, find the GXCC page, look for Ventersdorp, round number 4 of the series. Get those entries in. It is going to be a belter. And remember, this marks our halfway marker of the 2021 championship. We didn't get here last year because of XYZ. Now it's just feeling very, very cool and very, very positive. Get those entries in. We'll be out there. The boys will be filming and we'll make you guys superstars as always. So as you saw 2 weeks back before we actually did our last event and last little bit of wrap up for the GXCC round number 3, that was for our support class, we went to Bikers Warehouse and we chatted to Wayne Farmer about his new project and his new bike. Since then, he has been out on the bike 1 or 2 times as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he actually lines up and has to go up against the big dogs on the GXCC gate. But while we were there, I also spoke to Kerry Poozy, and they are rolling out a motocross squad. They have been rolling out a motocross squad for the last couple of seasons, and they've gone big this year. They've really partnered up with Honda. They've gone for a 3-man squad. Looks like they're all going to be racing in the MX3 category, which is the old dudes and the fast old pros that have now moved up into that category. So we went back to Bikers Warehouse and we caught up with, you'll see, a familiar face if you are fans of the show. Enjoy. Yo, Brucey, good to catch you up, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in a few months, but we always used to roll the GXCCs together, and now you've gone full-time motocross. Tell me about it, man.
Jeez, Matt, I must say, I really do miss the GXCCs. We basically riding for Honda. The main focus this year was obviously to get us on the motocross track. Got a great team. And we looked at the race calendar. Unfortunately, there were 4 overlaps with the GXCCs, and obviously my main focal point this year was motocross. So I had to make the hard decision and just stick with the motocross, But hopefully next year in the 2022 season, I can get back in the GXCCs and do the best, or sort of get the best of both worlds, if I could call it that.
I didn't even know about it until like the week before the GXCCs. I came to Bikers to grab some bits and bobs, and Nads was loading your bike, and I said, I'll see you on the weekend. She's like, no, you won't.
I know, Matt. It was. I promise you, we kept looking at the calendar calendar, seeing where we could shave or change or this. And yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I was looking at doing the national motocross this year, as well as the inlands. There's some great exposure and great events. And yeah, there was like, just couldn't really find, I mean, it's literally half a championship in the GXCC you throw away, missing 4 events, you know, so just really couldn't, but I'd really like to get back into that, so to be honest.
Last year when you were, you've been on bikers for like 10, 15 years or something like that, but last year you were on a yellow machine and you dipped your toe into motocross, and I think that's where you got your taste again, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, as a youngster, I did a bit of motocross, and then as I got older, I progressed on the sort of enduros and extreme enduros and all that kind of stuff. And it actually started as like a bet to sort of see, can you actually podium? You've done the enduros, you've done the faster stuff with the GXCCs and national off-roads. Can you actually get onto the podium? And yeah, it actually started as a joke, and I ended up winning my class for the season of motocross. So yeah, it was completely unexpected, and yeah, I think that also just Honda quite chuffed with that, and that's why the focal point was the motocross this year. So yeah, that's how it all happened.
So you got on the 2020, and you knew kind of that was going to be your part-time bike because you were waiting on the 2021s, and obviously that's why we're here. So give us the breakdown. It doesn't look like there's too many big differences, but the differences between 20 and 2021 are quite key.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sean Kruger and myself were waiting for the new bikes. We were like, I promise you, we got word that just over a week ago, the bikes had arrived in the country. We were like 2 kids on Christmas morning, basically unboxing these things with Mike Puzzi. And I must say, just looking at the 2 bikes, it's completely different from head to toe. I mean, I can run through some of those changes with you, but the beauty with the 2021 and the 2020 is the actual rider positioning on the bike is absolutely identical. So if you had to take a tape measure and measure from the actual foot peg to the seat, foot peg to bar, the actual riding position was exactly the same, even though the bikes are completely different. So from that point of view, the transition from the 2020 to the 2021 hopefully isn't going to be a huge jump, but yeah, the bikes are completely different. And saying that, the 2020 was a fantastic bike to race. I mean, I've raced it pretty much half the season, and I can't fault that bike.
Big things for my eye, obviously single pipe. There's a lot more things going on the handlebars, so tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's a big thing I saw. I mean, the double pipes, Honda was always known for their double pipes. That was always nice to see. I wondered why they'd gone back to the single pipe. I read a review that mentioned that going to the single pipe, they had shaved off 1 kilogram, and they'd also made the bike 70 mils narrower. I think the engineers, their main focal point was basically, or their motto was razor sharp cornering, and I think they basically hit the nail on the head.
And then engine mapping, there's some PlayStation buttons up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I must say, when you look at the engine mapping, like I said, the engineers have really gone back to the drawing board and looked at refining every last bit. So they've actually grouped the actual engine mapping switches all in one sort of location. It almost looks like one of those fighter pilot joysticks, and each mapping has got actual 3 different settings. So you've got your standard, your smooth, and then your aggressive setting. And yeah, I mean, it's absolutely incredible that it's all just in one spot.
And the cool thing for your setup, Bruce, is the fact that you had a really good setup on your 20. So now you've kind of just crossed over your suspension settings, and you haven't really had to dial too much in on this bike. Well, we don't know because you're going to race it for the first time this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. So I mean, I actually haven't had a gap to actually ride this bike. I was racing in Valcom last weekend. There was a national out there. So, I'd love to. I actually can't wait. Full stop. I just absolutely can't wait to race this thing.
Kruger, you and me have been hanging for a few years now, but you've been off the bars for a bit, but the bikers guys brought you back. Tell me your story.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I started I think last year, December, about 1.5 years ago, and I didn't see myself coming back at all. I mean, it was 8 years, 9 years, not even showing a leg over a bike. I didn't get to test ride, I just stayed away, lived the normal life, work, go to gym, and so I pretty much stayed away from the scene because every time I went there it was like, yeah man, I gotta get a bike. I ride someone's bike, hey, can I borrow your bike? Or if I have one spin, then like that bug bites, and then so I just kind of left it, and then we went out for a nice little team building day. They're out there at Nutbush, and swung a leg over, felt amazing, and then the offer came in, and I thought, I'd love to. You don't even have to ask me twice. I'm in. I'm all in, and here we are today.
So you were on the old bike, which actually was an enduro bike, wasn't it? And now you've actually got your first MX Freshie.
Yeah, it was the 250 RX, which I'd never ridden in my life before either. It had been such a long time since I've been on a bike. I figured that's how 250 is, and I obviously had the bigger tank, the 18-inch back wheel, all the enduro components. I was just happy to be back on the bike, nonetheless. Had a good time up till now, and then and then the new one arrived. Couldn't be happier. Ecstatic. It's night and day.
So now you're going to go racing, I think it's a regional this weekend or one of the inlands. And yeah, I mean, take us through the bike. I mean, obviously it's got the standard 2 pipes. It's the gorgeous skinny Hondas, and yeah, you put some of your own touches on it as well.
I have definitely done my own touches, like the blue grips, going for that Honda look. I tested it on Sunday up to Ethiopia. I haven't ridden the new Chestnut yet, so we'll find out tomorrow. It's a fresh new bike, fresh track. Super skinny, it feels much lighter. I didn't think there'd be such major differences. I thought there were just a few components, but she's stronger, more aggressive. Well, the first couple of laps was like, that's what I've been missing. There's the 250 I had in my mind coming back, and it wasn't in the RX. So super keen, super happy with her. I think I'm going to definitely do a lot better in the results against the 450s. I mean, I was already at Ethiopia about 4 seconds a lap faster than the RX. So it does make me a bit excited to, as I bring home some podiums. So we'll see how the weekend goes.
I see your teammate Bruce lost one of his pipes as well. You kept your doubles.
Kept the doubles, got to keep the doubles.
Tell me about how the team dynamics working. I mean, you probably knew Bruce from back in the day, but you know, he was old school motocross pit bikes, off-road enduro, and now he's full-time MX, and you know, he's your bud in the pits, and then the Langston hookup as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have known him for a while. He was more doing the pit bikes and dabbling in a bit of everything, and I was sort of Kruger focused on the motocross and overseas and all those things. And that's when also JP was, we were in a team together growing up, so I've known him for a long time. So it's actually quite nice to come back, and then also JP comes back, and then Bruce is in the mix, and it's like a old school pace coming back into the MX3s, and it's like I explain it, it's overwhelming, but I'm just happy to be back. There's still that pressure to do well, but at the end of the day, it's also staying safe and pumping the Bikers for Us brand and Honda and obviously all the sponsors along the way.
I've been laughing at the MX3 gate lately because it's all the pros from like 10 years ago.
Yeah, jumping on the gate, I saw it was Grant Frericks and all the boys, and I was like, am I on the MX1 gate or is this the MX3 gate? So you always got, it's like all the young guys are coming into the MX3, and it's just, like, it makes you sit back and think, how many years has it been? Like a while, I'm back into the vets already. I didn't see the day coming, but having a super great time. Now I see some familiar faces like you again as well. Honestly, I couldn't be happier having a jaw. Hope it's here for many years to come.
Tell me about the hookup between Bikers and the Big Red, because obviously they're one of the standout, the premium brands that the Bikers Warehouse are pushing at the moment, and they seem to be using the team as a big marketing tool at the moment.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, the off-road side's been quiet a bit for the Big Red. So I think their main goal was the Hondas focus primarily on the MX side. So to do an MX team and inland was, I think, the best thing to do. So doing a team for Honda on motocross to try and sell the motocross bikes, I think is the main goal is to be back there, be loud and proud, all the branding up, put some nice results out there, and then get guys to see that, okay, Honda's still going, can we grab some new bikes? And there has been a few bites. Like, where can we get our bikes? We want one, let's have a look. But now that the new ones are here, it's a bit easier to showcase, this is what's coming, do you want a slice of this? And then obviously they see our results and it all blends in and hopefully pushes up towards a lot of sales in the future.
So that's our second up close and personals. Watch out for next week, because we're going to be chatting to none other than JC Nienaber about his sled that he is on for this season. It's the Big Husky. So we're going to be going down to Holshot to chat to him about that. And we're going to be chatting to Styler. He is our main spanner man out at Shimwells, and we are finally starting the rebuild of the Goon Wagon. We cannot wait. The bike has been stripped down to the bare bones, and I mean that. The frame went away for powder coating and a couple of touch-ups and repairs. Now we've got it back. Stage one will be throwing the motor in, getting the suspension on, getting the swing arm in, getting the wheels and the new tires on, and mounting the handlebars. That'll keep us busy for the first part of the rebuild, but this is where the journey begins, so stay with us as we continue the Goon Wagon build-up. But I hope you enjoyed the show. Tune in next week where it's going to be Goon Wagon and JC Nienaber's new sled. Laters.